Holy shit! Oh my fuck! This is it. This is it. We've been waiting for this fucking moment for years, like literally years. What's up, guys? I'm here to bring you my review of Bleach 647, the theatre suicide. And as soon as I heard that title, as soon as I read that title, I was like, I know what's coming. I know what's here. This is it. You know, we've been waiting for this moment ever since the tease against Stark. You know, ever since Ukitake said, "Oh, you shouldn't use your Bankai out in the open," and since we knew Kazen Kyokotsu's abilities, we've all been pretty much waiting in fucking anticipation for this moment. Um, I'm just gonna cut to the chase. Shunsui's fucking Bankai is here. Shunsui releases Bankai in this chapter. And yeah, this is monumental. We've been waiting for this moment for actually years. Shunsui's my favourite captain. Kazen Kyokotsu is my favourite Zanpakuto. I've been waiting for this. You know, I there's nothing else to say really. Oh my god. Before we begin, please subscribe to my channel. I'd super appreciate the support, and thank you again to everyone who has been subscribing to my vlog channel. Again, I'd really appreciate if you guys continue to take a look over there and subscribe to that. That'd be great. I just released a Walking Dead review, so if you're interested in The Walking Dead, please go check it out and subscribe. I'd super appreciate it. The link will be up here. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on straight with this review because this is crazy. So it starts off with Shunsui running away, and he's bleeding like crazy. So he did actually get hit by Lil Barrow in the end of last chapter, which I thought was quite interesting. But something else that's funny is that we see Shunsui's injuries, and he's got a chunk out of his shoulder and a chunk out of his side, which does actually mean that the attacks did correspond to where they were landing last week, which means that one of them did actually miss. one of Lil Barrow's shots did actually just hit his hat, so oh well. So Shunsui's like, oh, you know, it's amazing I could still run this far even with these injuries, and he says, you know, under normal circumstances, that attack would have killed me instantly if only it were that simple. Don't get what that means. Is he implying he uses Shikai in some way? I think that's possible. I'd say something else that's interesting as well is that Shunsui can now move. At the end of last chapter, he was like, oh, I've been rendered immobile, and then he gets blasted, and now he's flying away. So that's weird. But anyway, he says, you know, things can get pretty rough and you're not exactly weak either. I can't even pass out, much less die. What luck. Because we know that already, that if you've got a lot of reacts, it takes more to kill you. It takes more to even make you pass out. Because even when Aizen says to Hitsugai, you know, you won't fall unconscious. You'll just lie there and watch. Anyway, doesn't matter. Anyway, so Shunsui kind of sits there waiting for like a reply. And he says, oh, you know, now that Nanao-chan isn't here with me, it's kind of missing. I'm kind of missing what she says when I say things like that. He doesn't have long to ponder, however, as Lil's attacks suddenly appear and blast the bloody building he's sitting on. Shunsui then just kind of jumps into a building and goes through the window, which is kind of cool because you actually get to see the inside. It looks like he's kind of maybe in a school, because there's actually like a chair and a desk, and I don't know, it's interesting what it could be. Something else that's interesting, however, is the chair and the desk are facing the wall. Anyway, that's very unimportant. So Lil's floating in the air with his Vollstandig, and his Vollstandig does look kind of cool. It looks a little bit weird, but it does look kind of cool. And you know, he's like, how amazing you can still run with those wounds. And we get a better look at his face, and his white markings seem to actually go around his mouth. Not that you get to see it very well. But as Shinsui's running through the doors, this orb of light appears, and I was like, this is going to be Lil's X-axis attack can now be like controlled in the direction where it's going. But no, he freaking teleports. He has gone full Aizen at this point, it seems. He appears in front of Shunsui, like he spirals out of this orb of light. It's actually quite a cool effect. But Shunsui readies himself, and Lil's like, you know, you don't get it, I told you there's nothing that can hurt me anymore. And Shinsui's like, yeah, I know. And this is freaking awesome. Like, so Shunsui puts his blades together, and he sort of like slashes them out around himself, and he summons this big kind of light ring thing. And he says, you know, I wonder how you'll fail the Kido blade. And it's Hado 78 Zangerin. Zangerin doesn't sound very Japanese to me. It sounds German. But either way, it's a really cool looking attack. But apparently it doesn't really do much. It does an enormous explosion, but it doesn't hurt Lil at all, apparently. Anyway, we then actually move back over to Shinji and Renji. And I'm not going to lie, I was thinking to myself last week that... not last week, kind of like yesterday. That if we do see Gerard before this fight is over... that means we'll be seeing Gerard's fight next rather than Askin's. Because I had a feeling that we might actually see Askin next, but if we see Gerard before this fight is over, then we'll see Gerard next, because that would be Kubo's way of setting it up. Because obviously Gerard still hasn't technically found any opponents by this point. So if we did so during the fight, he'd be next. So anyway, Shinji's like, we're finally getting closer to the enemy's base. Let's move out. And then as they're running, there's an explosion on one of the separate kind of strands of Varvel. And Shinji's like, what the fuck? And then something lands in front of them. And there's a huge explosion. And, it's Gerard. And he's like, intruders, you've done well making it this far. And Shinji's like, we didn't come to you, man. You came flying to us, which is kind of funny. And then, Gerard's like, this is as far as you'll get unless you get past me, so try and defeat me. And there's a comedic moment where Gerard's not really listening to anything they're saying, and he's kind of going off on his own little monologue. That's kind of funny. But then Renji just kind of uses Zabimaru and straps it around Gerard's arm. I think it's his arm. And, he's like, well, if he says so, I guess we'll just have to take him down quick. And it's pretty funny that Renji now thinks he can defeat Gerard on his own. Like, come on, man. Stop thinking above your station. I'm not going to lie, I kind of hope Renji and Rukia get their asses handed to them in this fight because they need it in this arc, really. Because they seem to be getting pretty egotistical. Anyway, Shinji says, can we leave this to you? And Renji's like, of course. And then Gerard says, who said this was going to be a one-on-one? And as Shinji and Momo are trying to run away, Gerard's cape just explodes outwards and grows really long and blocks their path, which is kind of cool. And I have to admit that Gerard looks really quite tall and intimidating in this panel. So he actually is going to be quite a cool opponent, I think. And I can't tell if it's his hair. I think it is his hair. I thought maybe for a moment his feathers had gone massive as well, but I think it's just his hair. Anyway, there's this really ominous and pretty cool panel of Gerard actually where he says, even a miracle wouldn't be able to save you in a one-on-one battle with me. All of you come at me at once. And his eyes are glowing with Reiatsu. But yeah, I like how they don't know his power yet, so he can just drop the word the miracle in there wherever he wants. But then yeah, Shinji's had a big talk, and then we don't see the rest of that fight. That's clearly going to happen next. That fight is happening next. Hopefully we'll get a Bankai for Shinji. It's definitely about time. Urahara's also there, but I don't think we'll get his Bankai. I really don't. I think that'd be asking a lot. Urahara will probably save his Bankai for a bit later. I think we could definitely get Shinji's though. That'd be awesome. Anyway, we then return to Shunsui, and he's perched in between two buildings. And he's like, I knew the Kido wouldn't do a lot to him, but to think he did nothing at all, that's pretty crazy. But anyway, Shinsui's gone all the way back to where they first came into Varvel, so he's taken a hell of a distance between himself and his friends. And he says, at this point, I'm sure everyone else is far enough away from me. And at this point, I was like, oh shit. This is going to be it. But anyway, as he says this, Nanao is actually running towards him, which is, pretty ominous. But then he says, Nanao-chan, I'm sorry if you get caught in this as well. And he places his two scimitars down into the ground like so. And he says, it's time for my last resort then. Bankai. And it's just like, oh, shit. And then we do actually get to see it as well. Seriously, Kubo, you're fucking spoiling us here, man. You're spoiling us. So apparently the name is Katen Kyokotsu Kurumatsu Shinju. And it's almost a little bit hard to decipher what's going on in this panel, but it's all very dark and ominous, as you might expect. Shunsui is sitting on the ground, one blade in the ground, the other one seems to have disappeared, and I'm not 100% certain. There is, however, a shadowy apparition hugging him from behind, which is possibly his Zanpakuto spirit. But yeah, there's a woman hugging him from behind, and he's sitting on a shadow of an upside-down pine tree, which is branching out across the floor. And the name Kurumatsu Shinju means something along the lines of suicide, lover's suicide under the black pine tree, or something like that. Which is crazy. I've been reading some forums, and people have already been, digging deep into this. As they would expect. We've been waiting for this fucking Bankai for years. For years. People are excited. I'm so hyped. Shunsui is my favorite captain. I've been waiting for this Bankai for years. This is it. But anyway, yeah, people have been doing some reading into the name, and apparently it means something like it's a double suicide when two lovers aren't allowed to be together for whatever reason. So it sounds just on that basis that Shunsui's Bankai is going to be very, very fucking dangerous. It sounds like he might die. And I've kind of felt that Shunsui will die ever since Yamamoto and Unohana died. It feels like Kubo's killing off the old captains. For Shunsui to die in this fight would be disappointing, in a way, because I'd want to see him go out against Yuhava. But it's definitely possible. If his Bankai maybe requires a sacrifice or something, or it's possible Nanao will die, because if Shinsui's Bankai requires a sacrifice and Nanao happens to get caught in it, because it does appear to be an AoE Bankai, then yeah, she might die. Which would be pretty rough. I imagine Lil Barrow will die, because when he says nothing will hurt me, I'm pretty sure he means nothing like tangible, because Kido's still technically tangible. You can still feel it, I guess. Like, because Kyoraku's Bankai, I mean, I have no idea what he's going to do, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Whether or not Lil Barrow dies next week or not, I don't know. I kind of want this fight to go on for a couple more chapters at least, but it kind of depends how Shinsui's Bankai works. If it works like immediately, then Lil Barrow might die straight away. But I think Nanau's got to get there first. We've got to have a bit with her doing stuff, and then we'll see where it goes from there on out. But there's not an awful lot more to say about the chapter. The Bankai panel looks fucking awesome. I can't wait to see more of it next week. I love the whole shadowy woman hugging him from behind, and just the whole sinister thing going on here with Shinsui's Bankai is just so in line with his double personality that he's actually like a freaking nutter underneath his kind of niceties. But yeah, not a whole lot else to say. We still don't even know what Gerard's power is, other than it's called the Miracle, so it's hard to see where that fight's going to go. But if he's really taking on everyone, then he's bound to be powerful. And if Askin's fight's left for last, that's kind of cool. I still think Askin might survive the whole thing. We'll see what Kubo decides to do, but I think Askin could survive the whole thing. But anyway, guys, it was a short chapter this week, which is probably my only downfall of the chapter, because I loved everything else. I thought it was a brilliant setup. It was really putting Shunsui in a dangerous position. When you look at the wounds he's taken, he is in a worse position than he ever was against Stark, which is a bit of a shame, but I'm still hoping Stark makes some kind of apparitional appearance. That'd be cool. But yeah, that appears to be the end of the chapter, guys. I think there's not much else to talk about. If there is, let me know in the comments below what I missed, and tell me what your thoughts on the chapter were. What do you think of Shinsui's Bankai? Are you excited to finally see it? And what do you think of Gerard versus Shinji and the others? Are we going to get a Shinji Bankai, or is that fight not really interesting you very much? Let me know in the comments below, guys. As always, please subscribe. I super appreciate the support, and give the video a thumbs up. That'd be awesome. But until next time, guys, see you later. Shinsui's Bankai. Holy shit. That's cool.